yellow, right?
Yes.
So the most important thing here is making sure that your pipes, sometimes these are called filters. Ink comes from the tank, goes through the filters. These are things which we call consumables. Every at least once a year we change the filters. Yeah, they don't die. Okay. But the thing is they stop being able to properly filter the ink. So now, if you check your inks, you can see here that you have yellow, and then you have the pipe that is going into the yellow.
Yes.
Do you notice something? If you check right now, you see the pipe is going in there.
Yeah.
Sometimes this happens where it lifts up a bit and the pipe is not exactly inside the ink. So one thing you need to do is always keep your inks, keep your tanks with ink. At least maybe 30% or so. Okay. Always make sure they have something. That's why you need to buy ink in advance. A very important thing here is when you put ink in your tank, make sure they are almost the same level.
Okay.
You don't want them to be one way down there, the other, because they use a system called gravity dampers. How it works is the more there's ink here, the more it can push to the head.
Okay.
So if one has little, the other, you find out the tank with more ink is spilling into the tank with little. Are you working on that?
Yes.
Alright, cool. So that's it here. Any questions?
Okay, so with the bottles, we don't need to change the bottles when we are changing the filters.
No.
So this bottle can run.
The bottle can run as long as you,
Okay.
A good practice is just once every couple of weeks, just come and shake. Let's just say maybe, I'd say every morning if you can.
Okay.
But normally twice a week is good enough to just come here and just shake the tanks a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, not too much because of course it's going to spill.
Okay.
When you close your tank, there's no need for this to be fully sealed. If you seal it, just release it a bit so that it can have a bit of a, it can breathe. Yeah, exactly. All right. That's it so far at the back. These are your tanks. I've explained that. Now I'm going to come to your material. Okay. Are you good here?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes.
All right. And
feeders.
Right.
Okay.
On your feeders, you simply just unscrew. They have knobs. Normally, people can put them on the front. You may not, if you go to the front, you'll be able to see it. Okay. Just check with me to see.
Yes.
So some people like it to be at the front. Why? When the wall is here, people would like to be able to adjust it from the front and they can just adjust it. But it's up to you. You can simply, this can be turned around. You just literally,
it's fine like
it's
this.
fine like this. Yeah.
Because the machine will come next to
Okay.
them.
All
So
right.
I know
Sure.
that. The only time I come here is when I'm feeling alright.
Okay, when you're fixing it.
Yes.
So the most important thing on fitting your material is what is called a core. A core is that khaki thing where the material is wrapped on.
Oh,
this,
yes,
this
yes.
is the one inside here.
Yeah.
So the core is what sits on the, let me take this one out and show you. Let me just loosen it. Okay.
So the reason why people they are loosening or they are screwing that thing is to loosen this or
to loosen or tighten this thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So you see this core here.
Oh, there's no this thing inside.
Exactly.
Okay.
So this thing here fits into the core here.
Okay.
So if you bring vinyl without a core, you can't put it in. You can just put it, but it will just be going down. If you understand, yeah. So I'm just going to, it's easier to push from there. Okay. Right, this is number one. I'm going to tighten it from the front and show you the other thing. Okay. On the sides here, what I call tensioners. If you're doing PVC, you find out that PVC off, basically, see I have this grooves here, two of these. Just take a blade or anything sharp that can just go inside here, and then just run through. That's it, and it's done. Don't make the mistake of cutting here because people scratch them very much. Yeah.
So when this thing is scratched, what's going to happen?
Nothing at all.
Alright.
It just doesn't look nice.
Look
Yeah, it just doesn't look nice. Yeah, but otherwise it's okay. We have to see this, not us. For here.
Oh.
Because if it's not straight, then it will be moving like this. Number one. Number two, you don't want your material to be under the wheel. It's easier if your material is either anywhere in between.
Okay.
When you clamp it, or this is the clamp. So you lift this clamp, okay, go up, lock it. Okay. You have the same thing at the back there. So depending on where you want to do it. So let's say I unclamp it, it's open now, right? And I want to adjust so that it comes here. Okay. But I also have to make sure that this cord is also on the same position. Okay. Right. So let's say I put it aligned and then I can start. Then I lock this. I've locked this, and now once this is aligned, let me just lock it. There we go, tightened. Now the most important part when being straight is not the front part, because that depends on who cut it. If you cut it not straight, so you use the sides. The sides are very tricky. I like to use this thing here because it's normally straight, and I just bring it and see if it's straight, or these holes here, whichever you use here. Okay. Right. Now I've aligned it straight, and then I lock it, and it's not in the space here. Yeah, but if your vinyl, if we didn't have to cut it and whatever, it wouldn't be moving sideways. Right now it's moving sideways because of all that treatment we did to it. These guys you see here,
and then this side we don't.
Same thing. We also want to make sure. So if
this rail is not
exactly like you see that, but there's nothing I can do. There's two ways to fix it. Is either I can move it all the way, but if I move it too much, it's going to be here. So at least this side I need to make sure that But ideally we want to have both sides either here. Okay. So sometimes I can either move this out or do that. Now the next part you see, these are called media holders.
Media holders.
Yes, but when your head is passing, because the edges sometimes are not smooth. Remember we cut this one.
Yes.
So you always want them to be under this holder here. So that when the head passes through, it's not scratched. You see this is almost what was happening. Yes. So they protect the head from that. Okay. Number two, the challenge with media holders is, first thing is when you fit them normally, they don't easily go in, especially when they get this. And people make a mistake of trying to lift them. And when you do that, it won't come down. Your head is about 3 millimeters on top of it, so then it's going to start scratching your head. So ideally, you just put any material that you can that is paper thin. So you're looking at your business card or any paper, just fit it underneath like this, and you bring it forward. Number two, you don't want to bring it in the whole way. Why? If your paper is not straight, especially this one because we cut it, if it's not straight, or if it has any cuts, it's going to jam. It's going to hook onto it, like what was happening with this thing I'm trying to. It's going to jam. So you always need to put it in halfway, which allows that when the paper plays around, at least this has a lot of free play. Exactly. Okay. So at least always fit in halfway. You could fit your own holder there. Okay. It allows us to say we're printing, a long batch of print. We can put what's called a core here. A core is when you buy your vinyl, remember, it's on a brown so exactly it came with that one. So that empty part, you just take the empty one, you put it here, and then when you print it all the way down to here, what you simply do is you pause your print, then you take some tape, you attach it to that core. It runs on both directions. If you push it, you can roll like this, or if you put the other way, it can roll the other way, depending on how you want to do it. You want to print it inside or outside? You normally advise it's inside. So which now depends on how you tape it onto the core. Okay. So if I tape it over the core like this, then it's going to go. Then that now depends on how much it's going outside. Yeah. If I tape it inside like this, that's all up to you. So you can choose any direction to roll it on.
So you choose the direction.
Yeah. When it's in the center, it's off. This goes it that way. Okay. This goes that way. It's a very simple thing once it's plugged in.
You said the back is the feeding?
In your machine, the first thing you see is just called a carriage board. Yes. It's just the board that communicates with the print head, which is here. You have what are called consumables on your machine. Consumables are things that are regularly need to be changed. Don't worry. I don't think you're recording. So you see you have 6 dampers here, right? These are called dampers. That pipe which is coming from the filter, that's the one which feeds all the way through this system here, and it comes here. Okay. Then you have dampers. You have 6 dampers. Dampers are what we call consumables, and like the same way you replace ink every time. It's not a problem when it's finished. Yes. Same thing with your dampers, because they finish as they work. They are for breathing. These are what allow the ink to draw from the tanks all the way through the head for you to print. So dampers every 4 months. If you have EcoSolvent ink, every 4 to 6 months you replace them. Okay. For white people we say 4 months, for black people we say 6 because the pipe, you plug it in here, right? See this, it's a breather. Okay. So the moment the pump runs, it sucks ink and then this pushes it like this. Normally it pushes in. When it's printing, it starts opening. As it's opening, it will be taking ink from the tank, and the cycle continues. Bring it in and print again. Then when you feel like it's fading, you just do it clean, pulls again, fills up, then it starts printing again. So this is what a damper is. Now the damper has rubber here, and EcoSolvent ink is corrosive. So because it's plugged in, the more it runs, this seal here stops being tight because that ink is also eating away the rubber and it wears out. So when you say change it, this is normally what would be happening. Okay. If you lift a damper and you see ink just running out, it's finished. It's done. Finished. If you lift it and you have to shake it for ink to come out, then it's still somewhat reasonable. The rubber is still there. Yeah, but ideally we look at 4 to 6 months to change your dampers. Okay. Right. Here you have the XP600 is also called a disposable printhead or a consumable. That it is not a lifetime printhead. Okay. The lifespan on this thing is about 6 months. Okay. They count it in terms of mileage. If this thing goes for about 1,500 to 2,000 square meters of printing, when I say 1,000 to 2,000, I mean, yeah, if you buy 1.2, it's a disposable printhead, yes, and we're looking at about every 6 months, it wears out. But it's not about the time. Okay. It's about these heads, much weight. Yes, how much work upon. But the catchy thing again is, the more they print, the better they work. If your head stays and it's not doing anything, you say, I only print once a week. You think you're not using, but you're actually damaging it because that ink is just sitting inside the head. And remember, it's corrosive. Yes. So your head actually dies faster if you don't print than when you print. I know we say 6 months. I know guys who've gone for 2 years with one head. They work daily. Then I know guys who get a machine that print once a week, every 4 months, 3 months, we're changing the head. So of course they're affordable, but you know you want to get as much life as you can out of them. The next head after this, they're called i3200 heads. That one goes for 27,000 one piece. So you can see the difference. This goes for about 6,000-7,000 one piece. So it's a disposable head. Just understand that it's not a problem when it dies. It's just it needs replacement. The same way you replace eggs. But if you maintain your machine well, you do all your cleaning as we're going to teach you. You're looking at about 6 months to a year using one head. But yeah, the main thing also, which I'm not mentioning, is power. If your power, like you saw here, it's sending an over voltage, you are running it at an over voltage. So if there's no stabilizer, your head is prone to a lot of damages easily. So please, that stabilizer, we need to get it as soon as possible. As you saw, your power is about 240. So it comes here in the head. So from there you come to what's called a pump. From the pump you come to the bottom. You have two things. You have this one pipe here, which is what this is your power. This is your on end. This is what we call your LAN cable. You connect this onto the motherboard and you have communication. Okay. Right, with your computer. Let's come to the front. That means it prints going that side and it prints coming this side. Okay. High means a high speed. Okay. So you can change these according to what you want. The rule of thumb is the faster the print, the lower the quality. And the slower the print, the better the quality. But it's in reverse. For big prints, when you're doing billboards or stuff or wallpaper, it's big stuff. Normally there's no tiny text. So high speed is equally fine. You're not going to see any issues. But when you come to tiny things like packaging, stickers and all of that, then those labels, because there's tiny text, you want to come to a lower speed so that it's not spraying ink and slowly. Everything nicely. Exactly. So that's the whole trick. You notice, I'll show you how to change the speed now, but you will notice that there are two computers here and there's an X. This is telling that I am not connected to the computer. So then I'm going to plug the cable in. You see the X is off. Yes. Now there is a connection. So that's important. Okay, cool. So now how do I set my starting position? So right now I want to print. You saw it was starting here. Yes. Sometimes I want it to start here. In the middle. Sometimes I want it to start there, depending on my material. Sometimes I've put material all the way there. It depends. Okay. So how do I choose where it starts? If you look at your screen right now, I want it to move that side, right? Left. So your arrows are down moves the paper, up, down and up are for, we call this the y-axis. That's what moves the paper. So this is paper feeding. This is right? Yes. Paper feeding, and then these two are for the, we call this the carriage. Or some people just say the head, but the head is just this part, but this whole system is called the carriage. The carriage is determined by these left two. And right. Why? Because the carriage can only move sideways. Yes. The paper can only move forward and back. So it's pretty straightforward. Forward and back, sideways. Okay. So now, if I want to set a starting position, you firstly press left and you leave it. So left is going to go to the last position where it started printing. So this is where it was starting the print. If I want to, it always starts on this corner here. That's where it starts. So if I wanted to start anywhere else, now that it's there, I simply move it where I want it.
Oh.
If that's where I want it, you read the screen, says exit, goes home. Okay, sets position.
Okay.
So whether I press exit or okay, it's still going to come back and cap. However, the difference is if I had pressed enter, it now remembers that as the starting position.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you now to reset the starting position back to this.
Okay.
So there's a heater here, sorry, and then there's a heater at the back. Front and back.
Okay.
Now you want, normally the meter is just hot, but sometimes there's no heat here depending on the system. This one doesn't have a heater normally. Okay. So how do I fix it? You go to menu, right, go to auxiliary functions. Can you see the screen? Right, get in there. Now when you're in the auxiliary function, see where it says heat mode?
Yes.
And you just get in there. And on this one, we're not setting the level of the heat. We're setting an instruction to tell the heat when to turn on and not.
Okay.
If it's on always, then my heaters are always on. If it's on printing, it's only going to turn on when I'm printing.
Okay.
Tricky thing is, if I'm doing a 5-meter print, then I turn the heat just before we start. Then it's on printing. It's a heater, it's not a light bulb. So maybe the first 2 meters is not heated up enough. So your ink is going to look a bit funny because ink is not drying properly. And then on the last 3 meters,
it's perfect.
It's perfect. So that's the tricky part, which then forces us to normally say, sorry guys, I sent, you can exit. So here's where you set the mode, right?
Okay.
But let's say you want to set the level of heat. How hot is it? Which depends on the material and the season that we are in. So now go back to the menu. Yeah, this is the main menu, right?
Yes.
Go to setup menu. Okay. And setup menu, go to the last option. You can go up instead of going down. There we go. Heat setup. You can get in there. Right. Front heat and back heat. You can get into the front heat. That's 7 out of 15. So 15 is about 55 degrees.
Okay.
When it's on 7, it's about half of that, 25, 30 degrees thereabout. So it's up to you. If you put your hand now and you feel like it's okay, then we're happy with it.
No, I think it's
so the main thing you judge by is when your print is coming out, is it fine? If your print is fine, then you're good.
Okay.
All right. You can go out, go to behind heat, which is the heat at the back, enter. So we normally have the back heat lower than the front heat. Why? Because when you're dealing with vinyl, remember it has a backing, glue, then the vinyl itself. If it's at the back, like right now it's seated, and that bed is hot, that glue is going to start melting. And then when you move the paper forward, it's going to have bubbles. And those bubbles, if you ever see printers smudging, normally it's because of the heat. Because the vinyl, especially if it's 1-year vinyl, the cheaper vinyl, it gets a lot of bubbles. And your print is now running, but it's just smudging the bed. So we normally make the back heat slightly lower, so that it's not that hot.
Okay, because the main reason for the heat is to dry the ink.
Yeah, but you want the paper to be slightly
behind
warm.
there, we are not yet printing.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
Sorry guys. Speed in parameters. I go to menu again. Inside that setup menu, I go in. Right. Print setup. Press it with a bit of a black touch. There we go. Right. Direction. Enter. Right. Bi-direction, unidirection.
Okay.
So uni means one way. Bi-direction means both ways. So uni is half the speed that bi-direction is. But it's not speed in terms of movement of the carriage. It's speed in terms of
left, right,
yeah,
left,
exactly.
right.
Okay, you can exit. Go to speed. This is standard, which is low and high.
Okay.
Now this is the movement of the whole carriage. It moves faster. Yeah.
So when I print the things with small letters, I go to standard.
You just want better quality, you go to standard or low speed. All right.
That makes sense.
Okay. Now go soften. You don't really have to worry about this. Soften is basically just the quality on how it sprays the ink. Every printer prints in what are called bands. You can pause it. So there's a longer route to there. You can just press the right button. This is the maintenance mode.
Okay.
There are 3 things that we mainly do here. A nozzle test, then 4. A nozzle test, which is going to show us the nozzle is just like saying a head test. It just shows me the state of my head. Does it have any blockages? What's wrong with my head and stuff like that. Right. From the nozzle clean, you have what we call a clean nozzle. A clean nozzle is an automatic way of doing 3 things. which you're going to see now. So a clean nozzle is automated. It does the clean on its own.
Okay.
But what it does is, it does these three things in this order. It does a manual pump first. Then it does a wipe nozzle. Then it does a flush. So those three, you can do them manually on your own, but then you have to start and stop them on your own. Whereas if you do a clean nozzle, it does the whole cycle on its own.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Now we're going to do them, and I'm going to show you what to check for, what to look for, and what it's doing. So let's firstly say you do a nozzle test and you see that the test could be better. There's a problem with it. First things first, you do a nozzle test. So I'm going to ask you to do a nozzle test. Now remember, the nozzle test starts where you set the starting position. So let's do a nozzle test.
So nozzle.
So here, it's going to do a nozzle test for us. There we go.
So while it's doing that, there's nothing for me to check.
No, you're going to check that.
Oh.
You have 6 dampers and 6 channels. Black, cyan. There's 2 cyans, magenta, and then yellow.
Alright, why here do we...
Right, you're going to hear your pump making noise. That's the most important thing. But it's not just about the noise. You want to know, is ink actually coming out?
Yeah,
so this wet pipe here,
you check it.
before it starts bringing out ink, the manual pump has been started. You're going to run it until this pipe is actually throwing out ink. If it's not throwing out ink, then everything else is not working. I can feel the ink, it's coming. There we go.
Okay.
You see it. Then I run it. Once ink starts coming out, I count 10 to 20 seconds. Then that's it. Then you can stop it. Wipe. Now check what this is the wiper.
Okay.
So it's going to move, and the wiper is going to come up, and it wipes the head, as you can see. Then it comes back in the caps. See that?
Okay.
That's it. You hear that?
So,
do you hear that noise?
yes.
That is called a flush. So our wipe function does the flushing on its own, which is good, because normally if this did not happen, we'd have to come and also do the function written flush. A flush is basically the head just spraying ink so that it opens up on its own electronically, just spraying ink. So right now with these two, we can check our nozzle again. So what it means, if I just move my head, a couple of things. This is rubber, this is ink.
Yes.
The wiper is doing its job, yes, but it also needs to be
wiped, cleaned.
That's all. Just take a tissue and just
it's
wipe
maintenance.
it. That's
my
this
own.
part, yeah. This
Okay.
is the physical maintenance. This is not system maintenance, it's physical. The cap also, so that it doesn't finish fast enough. Remember, caps and dampers are consumables.
Okay.
Caps also need to be changed every 4 to 6 months. But there's a rubber seal here on the cap.
Yes.
So you just wanna, just once a day or twice a day, wherever, you just take a tissue, just keep a tissue somewhere. That's why tissue rolls are important when you have this machine. You just wipe the rubber seal, nothing else, just the rubber.
Oh, here you don't touch.
It doesn't matter here whether you touch it or not, but it's just the rubber that you're trying to, because this is what sits on the head. So if this one just ink sits on it, it's going to finish faster. That rubber is going to wear out faster. Lastly, last tissue. If you leave it, this tray is going to fill up with ink, and all that ink is going to run all the way down to there. But people don't like seeing ink here. No, that's why sometimes you just put tissue here.
Then when
the
it's
wiper,
wet, you
just take it out and just put another tissue. Again, not Mercedes-Benz. So